garage. It's been a really long time since I made a video. I think it's been over 3 months actually, but there's a reason behind it. So in May, at the end of May, my middle daughter, she graduated high school, May 27th actually. She turned 18 the next day. And then on June 2nd, she went into the hospital, and she spent basically 13 days in June in the hospital. She got out for about a week and a half, and then she went back in July and was in the hospital from July the 3rd to July 31st actually. Well, she got out of the hospital, went to a rehab, and got out on the 31st. So it's been a pretty crazy couple of months for us. But the good thing is she's doing fantastic now. She did have to have basically a life-saving surgery, but she's doing really well. And you know, we've taken kind of a month afterwards to kind of get everything back in our normal routine, and we're back into it. So I wanted to make a video on the car. I've done a little bit of work to it in the last 3 months, and I wanted to kind of update you on what I'm doing. And so I'll get the camera turned around, I'll show you where we're at and show you what we're going to do next. So probably the first thing you're going to notice in the car is, I think this is the first time you guys have seen it with the T-tops on it, and I'll show you a little bit of the issues we've had with the T-tops here in just a moment. But the other thing is the doors, and I'll include some of the footage of what I did on the doors. That actually was done before my daughter went to the hospital, so I've done a little bit of work to it here in the last few weeks, but not a whole lot, basically just sanding them down. So this is the door. I've had to do a couple of repairs to it. I got these doors off of a 76 Corvette, and I wanted the crash bars. I wanted the doors with the crash bars in them. These actually ended up coming off of an 81, I believe. So there was a lot of modifications I had to do, but there were also a couple of repairs. You can see here I did a little repair to it, and basically what it is this car had sat out in the sun for years, and so there was some fiber showing. And so I need to do a little more of a repair there. I'm gonna take this handle back off. I just put it on temporarily, but I'll walk you around and I'll show you what the door this is kind of what it looked like before. This one's actually in much better shape than that side was. It does have a little bit of fiber showing there again, but overall, and I'll show you the video footage. I did do some trimming on the doors to get them to fit better. They both fit pretty decently. This one is not quite, doesn't fit quite as good as the other. When the door's out and flush, you can see right here that it doesn't really match the contour of the car grade. It kind of sticks out. I think that was probably like that from the factory on the other car. This one sits pretty good. So I don't know if I can get a good view of it. There we go. So the biggest issue I had is when I bought the car, this was the main thing I wanted off of them. And once again, I thought they were doors off of a 76. Turned out not to be the case, but it was a complete door. And the big issue I have on this door is when I pulled the seal off, I found that this area was crumpled a little bit. It's where the seal sits. And what I found out is it was because of the fact that when they tried to put the doors on the 76, basically what ended up happening was the hinge didn't fit. And I've seen actually other doors that have gotten trimmed out to clear the hinge, and they basically forced the door on and it crumpled that. So I'm going to try to fix that, flatten it out a little bit just so the seal sits better. It's not really that big of an issue, but overall I'm happy with the way the doors fit. And the other thing is the T-tops. So I had some issues. It appears that maybe the windshield frame is a little bit tweaked on it, not by much, but so you can see there's kind of a big gap on this side as compared to the other side. And basically I have this T-top, I have it as far back as it'll go. The other side, I have it as far forward as it'll go, and so it's still got a smaller gap on the left side than it does on the right side. So at some point I'm going to be pulling out the windshield, and I'll try to tweak on the windshield frame a little bit, do a good inspection, make sure there's no corrosion. But so far I'm pretty confident that there's no corrosion on the at least no major corrosion.
there is definitely surface corrosion on the bird cage of the car. It's all throughout it, but I mean, I've looked extensively and I haven't seen anything major. So anyways, at some point, like I said, I'll be doing that, but this was kind of a mismatch of T-tops. The T-tops that came on the car, they were pretty beat up, and so I had bought a set, and this is actually the set that I bought. And then when I bought the 76, it had a set on it, but those T-tops, they had been out in the sun and just kind of baked for so long that I was going to try to use them, but tried to do some adjustments on them, and they actually ended up cracking on me. So I ended up using this other set that I bought. They fit pretty decently. I don't even know if these are off the same car. This one had like super thick black paint on it, and the paint was all cracked and coming off in chunks. So I had to sand all that down and got it all off. This one, actually, somebody else had taken all the paint off and primed it. But if you look on the bottom side, there was a burn area right there, and you can tell this thing is charred pretty good. So apparently the car that this came off of was in a fire at some point. So anyways, but it fits pretty decently, so I'm going to end up doing more restoration on those down the road. But the things I have been focusing on the most are just the body repairs. This thing has a lot of just small cracks just in the paint, and that's pretty common on these cars. So it's got a lot there. It's got some down around these areas here, especially on the left side. Don't know if you can see it, but I'm tired of looking at this car being this ugly. It's several different colors right now, but so I'm going to work on getting it painted. So some of the repairs I've done is, if you look here at the lower splitter, this thing was completely mangled. So apparently from about here over, it had hit something and had been completely cracked off, and somebody went in and put about a 1/4 inch thick Bondo in there. And the Bondo wasn't really cured. It was pretty soft. You can move it around, but it also had apparently just entrapped water over time, and it had a bunch of mildew and stuff built up into it. So it turned out to be a bigger job than I had expected. As you can see right here, the hole for the bumper was cracked out at the bottom. I did a repair on that. I still need to drill the holes out. The same thing over here on the left side. But all in all, I ended up having to rebuild this area and made a flange for it. See if I can get a good video of it. Here, this whole section from here to over here was missing, so I did that. And I don't know how good it's going to come out on the video, but this is the back side of it. And so I still got some work to do. Like I said, I need to drill these holes out and then probably build this area up just a little bit more. But all in all, it's looking pretty decent. And these are things to be expected with a 50-year-old car. This was also, this section right here was also cracked out. I'm still in the process of kind of rebuilding that a little bit, where the front grille attaches. You can see this one's got a crack through it, and that's just stuff that happens with these old fiberglass bodies. You know, like I said, this car's over 50 years old. But the other thing that I'm working on is the rear bumper, and I'm gonna get these bumpers powder coated, probably like a silver metallic color. I'm not a big fan of chrome, but I mean, I want it to kind of be a lighter color. I don't want to go black on it. These are known as the chrome bumper Corvettes, obviously. And so this one fits pretty decent. It's not too bad. It looks okay. But the right-hand side was not fitting at all. And I'll show you from the bottom. So when I originally tried to fit the bumper to the car, this bracket was probably a 1/2 inch too far back, and it wouldn't let this bolt line up at all. And so what I found out as I started investigating is that this section had been hit at one time, and somebody had done a repair on it. And you can see these holes right here. They had made some metal ankle brackets and tried to kind of repair the area. And basically what it ended up doing is the contour wasn't correct here. It was too far back. And as a matter of fact, you can see I had to end up cutting a little section out in here, and there's a gap in there. I can almost stick my finger in behind the bonding strip, and so I had to kind of cut that out. I've got the piece that I cut out, but more importantly is I ended up ordering the correct piece that goes in here. At least I hope I ordered the correct piece. It was kind of difficult to tell from the exploded view what exactly we were looking at, but I called one of the specialty companies, and between the two of us we kind of figured out what I think we needed. And so the part's on order. So basically this is the part that I need here, and it comes down around here and it creates that cup shape, that contour right there. And as you can see, this bumper bracket here actually has a small gap, and I've heard you possibly might have to shim it, but I'm going to check on the adjustments of all of these support brackets and everything to make sure everything is right before I end up start shimming. But anyways, I needed this part right here to first of all make this contour and to get everything to fit correctly. So I've got the part on order. I was hoping it'd be here by today, but obviously it didn't show up. So hopefully it might come in as I'm working on the car. So I'm going to continue working. I'm just going to clean this this area up over here a little bit more. I'm going to take the bracket and the bumper off. I've just got it kind of temporarily in place right now. I'm going to clean up some of this mess on the inside. Somebody did some fiberglass repairs, but their fiberglass didn't completely cure, even though it's harder than all get out. It's not really cured properly. So just a lot of fiberglass work, grinding, and once I get it all ground out to my satisfaction, I'm going to go ahead and put a little reinforcement layer of fiberglass in there. But that's kind of part of the joy of doing cars like this, is that you get to deal with the 50 years worth of bad repairs, and hopefully you don't contribute to any of the bad repairs yourself. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with the way the front bumper came out, or the front splitter I should say, and I'm not completely done with it. I'm not completely done with the doors or the T-tops obviously, but I'm going to continue working on it. I'll get you a little more footage of what I'm going to do today. I'll include some of the footage of what I did on the door, and start trying to get some videos out. the door put back on and see how it closes. I don't know if I got footage of it or not, or talked about it previously, but basically I ended up putting the door on, and in the process of trying to adjust it, I had moved it up and then the door wouldn't open, and I had a pretty difficult time getting it open without damaging anything, but I luckily did get it open. And then off camera, I went ahead. This gap is just as big, and this is the old door. It just follows the contour of the fender much better. So it's I think it's going to be okay actually. And then when I come over here, the gap at the back, and I don't have a whole lot of room to get in here, but the gap looks to be just about the same. So it may be a little smaller on this side, but it's not too much. So the door actually matches up pretty good. So I'm happy with that. And the only other issue is coming down. The door sticks up a little bit higher than the fender, just right in this area where my fingers are. It's good here, it's good down here, it's good down here, and so it's actually probably just needs to be knocked down a little bit right there. You can see that there's some buildup of Bondo or whatever they use. I don't know if this was done at the factory. I assume it was, but whatever the factory uses, it looks like Bondo to me. It's pretty thick, and if you can see, and I don't know if you can, I'll try to get a good view of it, but you can kind of see the pink, and then you can see the kind of gray or whitish area under the pink, and that's the actual fiberglass. And I think if you get down past that Bondo, it's going to be pretty much faired. So I really don't think we have an issue here. I think everything is going to fare out pretty good once we get it sanded down. But right now I'm just trying to get the doors fit, and they look pretty good. Match contour is a little bit low here on the door. The quarter panel sticks up just a little high, but the rest of it is pretty good. So I think we got it adjusted just about right. And so that matches from here to here pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and clean up a little bit, turn the car around, and I'm just going to start working on the left-hand door. So I got the driver door about as good as I'm going to get it, I think. And these gaps, obviously they're a little bit big. They could be smaller, but it's pretty much flush here. It's pretty much flush here. It's flush there. All in all, I'm happy with it. I think once it's painted and everything's the same color, those gaps won't pop quite as bad. And so I'm gonna work on getting the inner and outer door handles installed, just so I can open and close the door. And then I'll move on to other things. But for right now, this is my main goal. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead and conclude the video here. I got the doors installed and I'm very, very happy with the installation of them. Obviously I'm not complete on it, I've got a lot of work yet to do, but right now I'm actually knee deep in the repair of the rear quarter panel, and it's going to take a lot longer than I wanted it to. So I'm going to go ahead and save that video for next week. But as far as the doors go, they're installed. I still have the dash out. I had to remove the dash to install them. And so once I get the doors painted, I'll be able to put the dash and everything back in. But that's going to be down the road. Right now, the main goal was to get the doors installed. They're on the car. They fit. There's going to be a few more tweaks that we have to do. But besides that, everything went well with the door installation. And like I said, we'll wait on the quarter panel install till later. So thanks for viewing once again, and look forward to seeing you again.